Hi, Jane. Welcome. It is so nice to meet you. So, you filled out some paperwork while you were waiting in the lobby. Okay. That was my therapeutic disclosure and also consent to treatment. I just want to make sure that you understand what you signed and see if you have any questions. So, just to let you know, everything you say here stays here, with the exception of if you would be suicidal or homicidal, where you were threatening to hurt someone else, um, if you would report child abuse or elder abuse, I have a duty to report. So those would be the only exceptions. Okay, so you understand. Any questions? Okay, well, tell me, what brings you here? Okay, so your family is concerned about you. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Mm-hmm. Your husband says you're not the same person that you used to be. What else? Mm, that's hard. So you're really struggling to get through the day, and it's hard to get out of bed. Tell me more. Okay. So you drink every now and then to manage those feelings. Do I have that right? Mm. So doing a lot of crying, and it feels hard to control. Mm. So you feel some guilt because your children are noticing that you're not able to be as attentive as you used to be as well. Okay, go on. Okay. So work is becoming a struggle too, and there's some frustrations. Do I have that right? Okay. So it's hard to manage. Okay. Hmm. You just made an interesting statement. You said you wish you were the person you were before. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that? Help me understand. Okay. So you're feeling overwhelmed because there's lots of areas that you're struggling with right now. I hear you saying that your family is concerned. Um, Emotionally, you're struggling, and also work is kind of unmanageable right now. Do I have that right? Okay. Mm, yeah. So some days you just wish you could stay in bed, and you find that having a drink helps manage those emotions. Um, and that feeling of being down just kind of creeps up on you. Hmm. Okay. So if a miracle happened and you woke up tomorrow, what do you think would change? Okay. So you don't want things to stay the way they are. You recognize that, but you also don't know what to do. That's normal. That's okay. Yeah. Um, Change is scary. Change is scary. And if you weren't a little bit scared, I would be a little bit concerned about that. So I think that's very insightful that you're able to identify that. Yeah. Mm. So you've been using alcohol to cope, and you're not quite certain what to use in place of that. Do I have that right? Okay. Okay. So let me put this together a little bit. Um, you made this appointment because your family is concerned about you. You also shared with me that your husband and children, they notice a difference in you, and you're struggling to manage work. It's frustrating, it's overwhelming. You shared with me that emotionally you're struggling, you're crying a lot. You're also feeling like you just don't want to get out of bed. You don't have the motivation. It's hard. Okay. And you shared that drinking is the only thing that you found so far, right? So far to help manage that. Okay. So, on one hand, you shared with me that you're having these struggles and these issues, but on the other hand, you shared with me that some days you're able to manage. So tell me a little bit about that. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Well, I realize with all these issues, your family, work, finding new ways to cope, better ways to cope, if you will. Um, Out of all these demands, what is most important to you? Okay. So it seems that one of the most important issues is finding a solution to your depression. Do I understand that right? Okay. And the next is working toward building your family unit. Family's really important to you. Okay. And then you also want to be a good employee because you value hard work, you value your job, and it fulfills a purpose. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Um, I wonder if you can envision your life when this is no longer a problem. And if you could kind of tell me again what that would look like. Okay? All right. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so if you're open to it, I have some information on alcohol that I'd like you to read. And maybe next appointment, I would love to hear your feedback on that. Um, back in the 80s, they used to say, just say no. Um, we say the same thing today, but we say just say no, KNOW. Um, I think it's just good for you to gather information um, and make an informed decision. So that's kind of a goal. And does that sound like something you would be willing to do? Okay. All right. And then we'll just talk about it next session. No pressure. I just want to hear your feedback and what you think. All right, cool. Um, Also, depression was at the top of your list. So I'm curious, would you be willing to follow up and make an appointment with our psychiatrist? I know, I know. So let me put it to you this way. We are a whole person here, and we believe that mental health is just as important as physical health. So If I were diabetic and I had to take insulin because my pancreas doesn't make it, it's really no different than the brain not producing certain chemicals. And typically those chemicals are serotonin and dopamines. So we just want to see if there's a chemical imbalance because that could that could be some of it, you know. It's worth exploring. Um, so is that something you think you would be willing to explore? You would. Okay, that's awesome. And to tell you something cool about our facility, we offer a gene study. So we are going to be able to quickly collaborate what medications work best for your genes. And that kind of takes out the test and trial as well. So that's exciting. Okay. I'm glad you're willing to do that. That takes a lot of courage. Um, and then your family. Family is important to you. I hear you say that over and over. Um, would it be a good goal to just identify a plan toward a pleasurable activity that you can do with your family? It could be just sitting down to watch a movie and eating popcorn together, or perhaps bowling. Whatever fits the likes of your family. Okay, so you're willing to sit down and plan and think in that direction. That's wonderful. Okay, so we have three goals. Um, you stated that you're willing to read some literature and then we can talk about it our next session. And I will assist you going out and making up that appointment with our psychiatrist so that we can just rule out a chemical imbalance. We can see where we're at there and just get all the information so that we can make good decisions together. Okay. And also, you stated you would be willing to identify a plan about a pleasurable activity that you could do with your family. Well, that is great, and I think that small steps are the way to get there. We start one step at a time, and I look forward to seeing you next week. We can set up that appointment, and I just want to commend you for today. It took a lot of courage to come in here and to share those vulnerabilities, and I hope that you're feeling some encouragement and that you have a good week. All right. Thanks, Jane.